Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something today that I think a lot of us can relate to, especially as we get a little older.
Yeah.
Building muscle mass after 50.
Yeah, the question I get all the time.
For me, I've definitely noticed things aren't quite bouncing back the way they used to.
Right. We've got some great research and expert tips to unpack today.
Yeah.
So get ready to learn why this gets a little trickier with age,
Yeah.
and more importantly, what we can actually do about it.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's unpack it.
All right.
One of the things that really stood out to me as I was going through this material was how much muscle mass we actually lose over time. Like, I knew it happened.
Right.
But did you know it's something like 3% to 5% every decade after 30?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
That adds up.
It does, and what's fascinating here is that it's not just about vanity, right?
Mm.
It's about our health and independence long term. That decline is linked to a higher risk of falls and fractures, which can seriously impact your quality of life as you get older. So it's not just about fitting into those, old jeans from college or something. It's about being able to chase after the grandkids or even just get up from a chair without help.
Exactly.
Whoa.
There's actually a name for this, sarcopenia. It's a syndrome that involves that gradual loss of both bone and muscle. And it's more common than you might think, too.
Wow. I hadn't heard of sarcopenia before.
Yeah, and it can be pretty debilitating. Imagine struggling to get up from a chair or losing your balance easily. Sarcopenia can make those everyday activities, those things we take for granted, a real challenge.
It's like a domino effect almost. You lose muscle, you're weaker, you're more prone to falls, and then suddenly these everyday things, like we said, become so difficult.
You got it. And then on top of that, there's this thing called anabolic resistance, which basically means your body doesn't build muscle from protein as easily as it used to.
So even if we're, hitting the gym or working out at home, it might not be as effective as it was when we were younger.
Unfortunately, it's true. It takes a little more effort and a little more strategy as we get older.
That's a little disheartening, but I'm sure there are ways to fight back against this.
Absolutely.
Right.
There are.
Our sources mention endurance exercises as a good starting point. I'm more of a weightlifting person myself, but I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah. So we tend to think of endurance training as just for like marathon runners or cyclists.
Right.
But it actually plays a big role in building muscle, too.
Oh, okay.
Activities like brisk walking, swimming, even dancing.
Right.
Those engage your slow twitch muscle fibers, which are essential for stamina and actually get more efficient through these types of exercises.
So even if someone isn't ready to, pump iron, they can still see benefits from incorporating those types of activities.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's encouraging.
And, as with any new workout plan, it's crucial to start slowly and gradually increase the intensity, especially after 50. Our bodies need a little more TLC.
That's a good point. Gotta listen to those aches and pains, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of building muscle, we can't forget about good old-fashioned weight training. That's got to be in the mix, right?
It's a classic for a reason.
Okay.
Resistance exercise, whether it's lifting weights or even using resistance bands, is one of the most effective ways to combat that age-related muscle loss. And it's beneficial for both men and women.
Okay, so why does it work so well? Is it just about, bulking up, or is there more to it?
It's way more than just aesthetics. You see, as we age, our hormone levels shift. Both testosterone and estrogen decline, and that plays a big part in that muscle loss we were discussing earlier. So weight training helps counteract this by stimulating muscle protein synthesis, which is the process of building new muscle tissue.
So it's like sending a signal to your body like, hey, we still need these muscles, let's get to work.
You got it.
Okay.
And aiming for 2 to 3 strength training sessions a week is a good place to start.
2 to 3. Okay, that seems doable. But let's be honest, sometimes finding the motivation to work out can feel like climbing Mount Everest.
I hear you, but trust me, the view from the top is worth it.
Uh-huh.
And remember, it's not just about building muscle mass. Strength training has this ripple effect on so many other aspects of your health, too.
Oh, okay. Like what? Convince me.
Okay, think about it. Improved flexibility, better blood sugar control, reduced risk of heart disease, even stronger bones. All of these things become even more crucial as we get older.
Okay.
Strength training helps you stay active and independent longer so you can keep doing the things you love.
All right. That's pretty compelling.
Yeah.
But before anyone rushes out to start, deadlifting their refrigerator, what do our sources say about staying safe?
Right.
And preventing injury, especially as we get older?
Safety first, always. It's absolutely crucial to consult with both your doctor and a fitness trainer before starting any new workout routine, especially if you have any pre-existing conditions. They can help tailor a plan to your individual needs, and make sure you're using proper form so you can avoid injuries.
So it's about personalized guidance to make sure you're exercising safely and effectively, not just, blindly following some workout video you saw online.
Exactly.
Right.
And, for those who might not be comfortable with those traditional weights,
Yeah.
there's another fantastic option, resistance bands. I personally love these just because they're so versatile.
Oh, yeah. Those are great for, for at-home workouts, too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen those colorful bands around. But how do they actually work to build muscle?
It's all about resistance, similar to weights. When you use a resistance band, you're creating these tiny micro tears in your muscles. And then as your body repairs those little tears, the muscle fibers grow back stronger and thicker.
So even something that feels less intense can still trigger those changes?
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be lifting super heavy to see results.
Okay, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Do they come in different, strengths or something?
Absolutely. One of the great things about resistance bands is that they come in a range of resistance levels. So you can adjust the intensity as you get stronger. Plus, they're super affordable and portable, making them a great option for pretty much anyone.
Okay, so we've got endurance exercises, weight training, resistance bands, all great options for building muscle after 50. But I'm curious about specifics now. What are some key exercises that are particularly beneficial? You mentioned compound movements a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Can we dive into those a little more?
Absolutely. Compound movements are your best friend when it comes to strength training, especially as we get older. These are exercises that work multiple muscle groups at the same time.
Right.
So they're super efficient.
So instead of isolating one muscle at a time, you're kind of hitting several at once.
Yeah, you got it.
I like the sound of that. Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, so think about squats. You're working your quads, your hamstrings, glutes, and even your core for stability. It's a full body movement that really mimics everyday activities, like sitting down and standing up.
Remember those compound movements? Well, squats are a perfect example. They work your legs, your core, and even your back. Talk about efficiency. Any tips for making sure I'm doing them correctly?
Absolutely. So imagine you're sitting back into a chair, keeping your back straight, chest up, core engaged. Make sure your knees track over your toes and aren't collapsing inwards. And, if you're new to squats, you can start with just your body weight and then gradually add resistance as you get stronger.
Okay, so it's all about that mind-muscle connection, really focusing on the movement and engaging the right muscles. What about hip hinges? I've heard those are good for strengthening the back, and my back could definitely use some love.
Hip hinges are fantastic, yeah, for targeting those powerful posterior chain muscles like your glutes and hamstrings. It's that movement you make when you bend over to pick something up, but with a focus on hinging at the hips and keeping your back flat.
I see. So many people think heavier is always better. How do we shift that mindset, especially with exercises like hip hinges where form is so important?
It's a common misconception. It's far more important to focus on proper form and engaging the right muscles than it is to just lift heavy weights.
Okay.
Think quality over quantity, always. You want to feel those glutes and hamstrings working, not your lower back.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, lunges, those always seem to get me. What makes them so effective? Are there any tips for kind of conquering them without feeling like I'm going to topple over?
Lunges are great because they work each leg individually. They challenge your balance and your coordination, which is really important as we age.
Okay, yeah.
The key is to take a comfortable step forward, keep your front knee over your ankle, and lower your body until both knees are bent at about a 90-degree angle.
Okay, so it's all about that control.
Exactly.
And what about push-ups?
Push-ups.
They seem like such a basic exercise, but they work wonders for upper body strength.
Push-ups are a classic for a reason. They target your chest, your triceps, your shoulders, all in one move. And the beauty of push-ups is you can modify them to suit your fitness level, right? You can start by doing them against a wall or on your knees and gradually work your way up to a full push-up.
I used to think push-ups were impossible, but I started by doing them against a wall.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quickly you can progress.
It is, yeah.
So there's a push-up variation for everyone.
Exactly.
No excuses. Okay, so we've got squats, hip hinges, lunges, push-ups, all these fantastic compound movements that we can do with or without equipment. But what about when we want to increase the intensity? Any tips for both, weights and resistance bands?
Yeah. So with weights, you can increase the weight you're lifting, of course, as you get stronger. But you can also adjust the number of sets and reps you're doing, or decrease your rest time between sets. Even small changes like that can make a big difference.
So it's about constantly challenging those muscles to keep them, growing and adapting.
You got it. And with resistance bands, you can similarly increase the resistance level, the number of reps you're doing. You can shorten the band to create more tension, making the exercise harder.
It sounds like there are a lot of ways to kind of keep things interesting and avoid those workout plateaus.
Absolutely. And, speaking of avoiding things, what about avoiding injuries?
Right.
Our sources emphasize the importance of warming up properly and cooling down afterward,
Yeah.
especially as we age. What are some good warm-up and cool-down routines?
Yeah, that's important. I think we all know we should be doing it,
Yeah.
but sometimes we skip it. So, yeah, let's talk about it.
So warming up and cooling down are essential, no matter your age. But they become even more important as we get older. A good warm-up helps increase blood flow to your muscles and prepare your body for the workout ahead. Light cardio, like brisk walking or jogging, some dynamic stretches like arm circles and leg swings, those are all great options.
Okay, and cooling down helps to bring your body back to a resting state, right?
Exactly.
Like a gentle transition back to reality after a good workout.
Exactly. Some gentle stretches are perfect for this. Holding each stretch for 15-30 seconds, focusing on the muscles you just worked. Think about it like giving your muscles a little TLC after they've worked hard for you.
Okay, so warm up, cool down, check.
Yeah.
But beyond that, what about maintaining proper form throughout the workout? We talked about that with squats, but it seems like it applies to all exercises.
You're absolutely right. Form is everything. It's better to lift a lighter weight with perfect form than to go heavy and risk injuring yourself. If you're unsure about your form, don't be afraid to ask a trainer for guidance.
Yeah, so it's like having a coach in your corner, making sure you're doing everything right, and avoiding those, bad habits that can lead to injuries down the road.
That's a great analogy. And speaking of guidance, we've talked about these hormonal shifts that happen as we age. I know some people might be wondering about hormone replacement therapy or testosterone supplements.
Yeah, I was curious about that too. It seems like kind of a controversial topic.
It is, and it's definitely something that should be discussed with your doctor. Our sources really stress the importance of consulting a physician before starting any kind of hormone therapy.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's about getting personalized advice based on your individual needs.
Right. And potential risks too.
And it's important to remember that while hormone therapy might be beneficial for some individuals, it's not a magic bullet. It needs to be combined with lifestyle changes, including exercise and, of course, nutrition.
Right.
That brings up a good point. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about nutrition. We know protein is crucial for muscle building, but how much protein do we actually need, especially after 50? Is it different than when we were younger?
That's a great question, and the answer is yes. Our protein needs do change as we age. As we get older, our bodies become a bit less efficient at processing protein.
Oh, wow.
So we actually need a little bit more than we did when we were younger.
So it's not just about eating enough protein, it's about eating more protein to compensate for those age-related changes.
Exactly.
That's interesting. How much more are we talking about?
So aim for around 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight per day.
Okay.
Or, if you prefer pounds, that's about 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So for example, if you weigh 150 pounds, you'd aim for around 120 grams of protein per day.
Okay. That seems doable. But what about, those of us who aren't exactly protein shake enthusiasts? What are some good sources of protein that we can, easily incorporate into our diets?
Oh, there are tons of delicious and nutritious options out there. Lean meats like chicken and fish are excellent choices. Eggs are a great source of protein too, and they're so versatile. Greek yogurt is another winner. It's high in protein and calcium, which is important for bone health. And don't forget about plant-based sources like beans, lentils, and tofu. They're packed with protein and fiber, which will help keep you feeling full and satisfied.
So it's about finding what you like and making sure to include protein with each meal.
You got it. Aim to include protein with every meal and snack. And it's not about obsessing over numbers. It's about making protein a consistent part of your diet.
Okay. So we've covered protein, but what about other, dietary considerations for building muscle after 50? Is there anything else we should be, focusing on?
Well, it's all about nourishing your body with a variety of healthy foods. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, those should all be on your plate. And don't be afraid of healthy fats. like those found in avocados, nuts, and olive oil. They're important for energy, hormone production, overall health.
So it's not just about protein. It's about a balanced diet that supports, both muscle growth and just overall well-being.
Absolutely. And don't forget about hydration.
Right.
Aim to drink plenty of water throughout the day, especially before, during, and after your workouts. Water is essential for muscle function and recovery.
Now, before we wrap up this segment, I wanted to touch on something you mentioned earlier, the importance of variety in our workouts. Why is that so important, especially as we get older?
Yeah. Variety is key for a couple of reasons. First, it keeps things interesting. It helps you stay motivated.
Right.
Let's be honest, doing the same workout day after day can get boring.
Yeah.
Second, it challenges your body in different ways, leading to better overall fitness. You're working different muscles, improving your balance and coordination, and it helps prevent those dreaded plateaus.
So instead of sticking to the same routine, we should mix things up and keep our bodies guessing.
Exactly.
What are some ways we can do that?
There are endless possibilities.
Uh-huh.
If you're a runner, try adding in some cross-training like swimming or cycling. If you love strength training, experiment with different types of equipment. Kettlebells, dumbbells, medicine balls. There's a whole world out there.
And don't forget about those fun activities we talked about earlier. Dancing, hiking, even gardening can be a great workout.
Exactly. The key is to find activities you enjoy that fit into your lifestyle. It should be something you look forward to, not something you dread.
Great advice. I think we've covered a lot of ground here, from specific exercises to nutrition and the importance of variety.
We have. And I hope it's clear that building muscle after 50 is not only possible, but it can be an enjoyable and rewarding journey.
Absolutely. It's about feeling good, moving well, and embracing this stage of life with energy and vitality. All right, so we've talked about the why and the how of building muscle after 50, but let's be real for a second. Sometimes the biggest hurdle is just getting started and then staying motivated.
Yeah.
We got a ton of listener questions about this, so let's dive into those.
Let's do it.
How do we make exercise a habit? Something we look forward to rather than dread. I know for me, some days it takes like a whole lot of willpower just to lace up my sneakers.
I hear ya. Motivation is a fascinating topic because it's not this constant thing. It fluctuates for everyone. But there are definitely some strategies that can help, especially when it comes to fitness. First and foremost, I always tell people, find activities you genuinely enjoy. If you hate running, don't force yourself to run.
Yeah.
There are so many ways to move your body and get stronger.
That's where that variety we talked about comes in.
Exactly. Think outside the traditional gym setting. Maybe it's dancing, hiking, swimming, even just going for a brisk walk with a friend. Movement is movement, and it all adds up.
And it can be social too, which definitely helps with motivation.
Right.
Having a workout buddy can make a big difference.
Accountability is huge. Another tip is to set realistic goals. Start small and gradually increase the intensity or duration of your workouts. Don't try to do too much too soon, especially if you're new to exercise.
So it's about progress, not perfection.
And celebrate those small wins along the way. Every workout you complete is a step in the right direction. Give yourself credit for showing up and putting in the effort.
That's a good reminder. We can be so hard on ourselves sometimes. Another question we received is about dealing with setbacks, like injuries or illness. Those can be really discouraging, especially when you've been working hard and making progress.
It's true. Setbacks are a part of life, and they can definitely, throw a wrench in your plans. But it's important to remember that they're usually temporary. The key is to be kind to yourself, adjust your routine as needed, and gradually ease back into things when you're ready.
So it's like hitting the pause button, not the stop button.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to your body, rest when you need to. Don't be afraid to modify your workouts. And if you're dealing with a more serious injury, it's always wise to, consult a doctor or physical therapist for guidance.
They can help you create a safe and effective plan for getting back on track. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from the nitty-gritty science to practical tips and even some motivational pep talk. Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
At the end of the day, building muscle after 50, it's about so much more than aesthetics. It's about investing in your health, your independence, your future well-being. It's about being able to, live life to the fullest no matter what your age.
What stood out to you from all the information we've covered today? Was it the science of sarcopenia, the power of compound movements, maybe those tips for staying motivated?
Yeah.
Whatever resonated with you, we encourage you to take action. Start small, be consistent, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. It's never too late to start building a stronger, healthier you. And until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep diving.